From Tolkien to Taoism, tea has been a culturally significant drink since we first started drinking it thousands of years ago. It has captured our cultural subconscious, and it makes us think of nature and calm and tradition. Similarly, bubble tea has captured the imaginations of me and fuels my world building, and I don't think y'all understand my love of bubble tea. It is the perfect drink. So today, we will explore the real-world history of bubble tea, analyze how to extrapolate that history, and how that history might fit into my fantasy setting of Isaah, a 1880s-inspired political fantasy world where all the promised ones burn. So, we'll see what bubble tea might look like with its current ecological, cultural, and culinary implications, and then we'll taste test that tea in real life. I feel like bubble tea could have been invented a lot longer ago than it was. Tea itself originated in China. Historically, by the time it got to Europe, the tea's quality had declined, or it simply wasn't preserved properly or prepared properly because of the cultural differences, so Europeans took to adding milk and sweeteners to tea. And then tapioca pearls are just cassava root flour boiled, and that could have been done much earlier than the 1980s or something, when the actual invention of bubble tea happened. While the historical consensus across National Geographic, CNN, and other news sources seems to be that 现制奶茶 was invented in Taiwan, there are two competing stories from different cafes about how this might have started. The competing stories come from Chu Shui Tang and Hanlin Tea Room. While both stories note that hand-shaken foam tea, a practice that put tea in a cocktail shaker, and when it was shaken, it resulted in bubbles in the tea, foam tea originated under Japanese occupation in this tea shop in 1949. But the origins of bubble tea with tapioca pearls is not as clear. In fact, a lawsuit filed in 2009 was ended with a settlement that it doesn't matter, we can all make bubble tea. And then these one's rivals seem to be friendly today, according to CNN. Now, as someone who can't read the primary sources in their original language, I can't currently form my own opinion on the matter, but according to their English website, Chincui Tang was founded by Mr. Liu Hanqie on May 20th, 1983. The first store was located on Siwei Street in Taichung, and initially it was named Yangshan Tea Shop. They say their bubble tea was invented in 1987, inspired by Japanese iced coffee and childhood memories of tapioca pearls. Meanwhile, Hanlin Tea Room was established in 1986 from a tea ceremony house. Its founder, Mr. Tu Tsung Ho, was an artist and photographer as well as an avid tea drinker, and he claims to have innovated the first bubble tea and pearl tea. So, who knows? It's difficult to say. Zooming out a bit though, Taiwan as a culture was introduced to milk and sugar by the Dutch during their occupation from 1624 through 1668. During this time, this island was apparently called Formosa. Endonyms are so weird to me. The locals didn't generally appreciate being occupied at the time, but apparently they did like the milk and sugar in their tea enough to keep it in their tea for the next 300 some years. Speaking of occupations, wow, that transition sucked. Prior to the recent war in Isaah, there were irregular but existent trade routes between the north and south, resulting in burgeoning cultural exchange. The development of airships and the magical history of refrigeration in my world means food preservation and trade resembled ours more quickly, though I'd like to hope that the humans of Isaah have done a better job of taking care of their ecosystems with farms that look more like indigenous folks' food cultures around the world, rather than the spooky modern cultures that have taken over today. But since they have food similar to ours, that means that we can taste our fantasy bubble tea in real life. Let's jump into it! The origins of bubble tea in Isaah would be telethans. Telethans, while warm for Isaah, is still cool comparatively to our global climate, and its more arid subtropical soil would be perfect for growing tea. Additionally, one of the staple foods grown here is cassava, the basis of tapioca pearls, if you don't know. With their cuisine loosely based off of Italy and their propensity for round, orb-shaped food, it wouldn't take long before folding gnocchi became folding tapioca pearls. They'd start with 1 part brown sugar to 2 parts water and bring it to a boil. We're gonna do this, pop, stuff from earlier, and then we're gonna just bring this back to a boil. And now I just wait for this to boil. Now I'm not making that big of a batch of this stuff because the boba recipes I was mostly seeing online were for like shops worth of boba or like a week or month's worth, and I need a couple of cups worth. Then you sift in tapioca flour until it becomes sticky enough so that it sticks to itself but not to the sides of the pan. I see now why people use sieves for this, but that's okay. Okay, that's starting to really look good. Yeah. Some people add cocoa for color, but here's the deal. I don't think I have cocoa in Isaah, so we're not adding cocoa for color, even though we totally could. I think they probably, if they're doing anything, they're probably just doing darker brown, what do you call it? Molasses or whatever. Like nicer molasses for the brown sugar. Brown sugar is just normal sugar and molasses cooked, and molasses is just normal sugar, but pressed and baked, I think. So really, it's sugar all the way down. Right, so we consulted the books, and they said to let it cool. So we're gonna move it to a different container here. Okay, so we added some flour. Now that it's cool enough for me to handle. And we're gonna see if we can get it to be the right consistency. I think this is still too sticky. I think it still needs more.
Misadventures of cooking with Amai.
This is so true. This is the only kind of cooking that you have with Amai is misadventures, yeah. I think everything I've made has been generally okay. My drinks actually have been worse than my attempts to. I should not have put more of my fingers in this. Well, here we are now. I'm stuck like this. Here's a new strat. I'm gonna pull some out, and we're gonna just flour that. Hang on, third hand. Okay, we did it. Okay, and we're gonna see if we're anywhere close to doing this correctly, or if something has gone terribly wrong in the process. Because that's also possible. I feel like at this point what I'd have to do if I wanted this to be like something that could be shaped is I feel like I'd have to steam it first. Like this is reminding me of making mooncakes, because this is about the consistency of the mooncake dough before you steam it, and then you steam it and then it comes out shapeable. Now, I'm not saying that I should insert a random steaming into the middle of this process. I think something's going wrong. Realize that you actually bought tapioca starch instead of cassava flour because you're illiterate, and now you're making oobleck, or glue, instead of dough. Is that big enough? Yeah. Steam it for 30 minutes, or put it in the microwave for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Alright. Wow, it looks exactly the same. I don't know, man. 2 minutes. That sounds great. Alright, here we go.
After 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay, well, that was too long. That's, you know what? It's fine. It was already not working. It's fine. It's fine. Don't be careful with that, by the way. That's hot. Okay, well. Whew. Maybe this is actually, like, you can't touch it right now, so we don't know, but maybe this actually isn't the worst texture ever. Maybe this is actually kind of getting close to what we want.
And we flip like a pancake. That's totally what this is.
It kind of looks like you're making, like, a steak out of clay.
I'm easily entertained.
That's important. Hopefully, so too will the YouTube viewers be, guys. The other option was to just, I could not post this YouTube video, but why wouldn't I? We're here. We filmed this. This happened. Hey, not to be like the fucking worst, but I actually think that might have fixed it.
Steaming it, or?
No, yeah, steaming, like, look at this.
Yeah.
This is correct. Why did... Okay, so this is showing me the incorrect message. And it's that I shouldn't trust recipes and I should just cook with my heart. Because I'm telling you, You just get all of these little like tricks over the years, and then as you go, you're like, oh, it needs this thing, and you do that. Much to the chagrin of everyone else around me. Once the mixture cools, roll your dough into drinkable boba balls. Then boil said boba for about 20 minutes.
And then here's what the old stuff look like.
Yup, and then here's the new stuff, which is basically correct. Perfect? No, but basically correct.
Because this is still sticky and it's cold at this point.
Yep. Yup. Alright, well, let's get the boba that's currently in there out, and let's put the new boba in. And we'll put it in, I guess we are starting the ice bowl now, so yeah, if you want to wash your hands and then we can swippity swap. Well, let's see how our first batch is looking. Doesn't look like it's unedible. Doesn't look pretty. Oh, and it's still so sticky, actually, though. Huh. Alright, here we go, guys.
With the steamed boba.
Yes. The correctly shaped stuff. Okay, that probably needs a little more water, but that's okay. Ice the boba once it's done boiling. In Isaah, mages could trace ice runes or sigils. We're sitting down now. We're very tired. This has been a long process. But you can use a refrigerator to do so. Then braise it in more brown sugar and water for 20 more minutes. And while this cooks, make your tea. So what we got here, we're doing these ones. So what we got here is we've got this brand of flower tea. Look at that. Ooh, fancy. Here's the little card thingy. It's all in German, so I don't know what name it says. Yeah, it really is all in German. So these are little tea balls. Here is our mushroom coffee. This we're just putting in hot water with creamer, or with our goat milk. And this is a Chinese tea sourced from that one tea valley in China. I don't know where, but I got this courtesy of my former company, Serenity Forge. So yeah, go buy Doki Doki Literature Club, lol. Alright, cool. So let's start with this tea, because this is going to be the easiest to make. Now, traditionally how you make this tea is with one of these, also random courtesy from Serenity Forge, where you'd put the tea in here with the hot water. You'd give it a good old spin it around, and then you'd strain it off doing that. And you do that while burning your fingers, and you just get used to it. But we're not going to do that today. We are one of these, because this is loose leaf. So here we go. Oh no. Oh no. There's so much more tea in here than I thought there was. My lord. Okay, so we're just going to go like that.
What was our phrase for today?
It can't possibly go worse. Ha ha ha. To match the thing. So here, we learned my lesson from last time, we're just cutting it out. And then we'll pour in the tea in a sec. And lastly, we got this. And this is where we're making our mushroom coffee. Now it says we want 2 tablespoons per 8 ounces of water. So I'm pretty excited to actually try this, because I'm not usually that big of a fan of normal coffee. So if this is like, you know, better for me, then it sounds like the vibe, like the time. Oh, Bill, why are you carefully measuring this when you didn't carefully measure anything else? Shut up. Oh. I'm going up to, what did I say?
8 ounces.
8 ounces? No, 8, and I did double, so it's
right.
16? 16 is that top line, right?
Yes. Right around there.
Okay, perfect. Ooh, this has a good smell. It's really earthy. It smells kind of like coffee, but not as strong. And I think my biggest problem with coffee is that it's really bitter, so I'm hopeful that this might be really good. This might be my vibe. Bubble tea in Taiwanese is likely roasted, brewed, and served straight with just the pearls added. The bubbles are rolled out and then cut and folded like gnocchi, since Taiwanese has a Greco-Roman inspiration. Taiwanesians, also having the freshest access to tea leaves, probably appreciate straight tea more than any of the others featured in today's episode. So even if they were to drink their tea cold, they would chill the glasses that they're serving it in rather than adding ice or goat milk to dilute the tea. They like their tea pure. But they add the boba and then they drink it with reed straws. That's good tea. It's just good tea. This is good green tea. Good boba. Yeah. Yeah, oh wow. Okay. So that Okay, I was expecting this to not be good, but that's actually so good. It's so sweet. It's not as chewy as the boba you get in like a boba shop. It's a lot more like jelly, but there's something about the flavor. I think maybe it's just sweeter. There's something about the flavor I really like. Sphonic bubble tea has had its pearls made the same way, but they probably roll their pearls instead of gnocchiing them. They'd have an easier access to flower tea than normal tea leaves, and they'd spice their tea with cardamom, star anise, cinnamon, and maybe put in a dash of something citrusy like lime, or even add fruit chunks. Cane sugar is still in there, and then they'd float flower petals in it too because more color and more flavor is better. However, they also would put ice in their tea because in many areas where Sphonic culture is more dominant, it's very hot and humid, and cold drinks are refreshing. Me too. That is all the flavors in every meal. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. So that's sweet again. I still like the texture because it's the same stuff. They have both access to the cassava fruit. You can taste the hint of cinnamon. The milk is a lot. They do ice it because they live in a really hot spot, so they don't really want to drink hot drinks already most of the time. You can also taste the floral hints. This is a lot of stuff. This is very overwhelming, and we haven't even made the real one yet with all the extra spices in it. So that's fun. The Shahirzani, my spider folk, would have learned of the bubble tea from trade with Sphonic people. As such, they'd be likely to make their tea out of flower tea, but then they'd add salt and caramel instead of fruit, given their access to salt and caramel is honestly probably still easier than getting fruit. Oh, we didn't put the caramel in this. We were fools. Hang on. I'll do it now. This is a vibe. It kind of just tastes like I put caramel in tea. I'm here for it though. I'm here for it. That's good. That's good. My favorite so far? I don't know, man. This is all really good. Okay. Well, now we're going to mushroom coffee. Meanwhile, Sagan sailors would learn of bubble tea through trade as well, but they would probably integrate it into their beloved mushroom coffee. This mushroom coffee is the basis of all warm drinks in the north, and it adds much needed nutrients to their diets. They would end up importing frozen or jarred tapioca pearls and reboiling them in their mushroom coffee. So today I'm using pre-made boba for my Sagan dish. So, imported boba that imported boba doesn't taste that different from the other boba that we've had. So I don't think that we messed it up that bad. I think we did it. Mushroom coffee tastes like normal coffee, but much, much weaker, which is maybe just what I want. It has a something aftertaste. It's not peanut butter. It's something. I don't know, man. Alright, and cool. Here we go. Last one. Demons would likely add blood wine to their tea, which I am not doing. And lastly, Thulians would just fully use dyed, honey-sweetened gelatin in their mushroom coffee. They drink it hot because they're cold, but they might ice the top for the aesthetic. Thulians are who are importing this sort of thing or who are mimicking this sort of things are likely rich, educated people. So they don't really care about being accurate because they have too much pride in their country to not just do their own thing. No, we're being responsible. In fact, we'll use this spoon since this has a little leftover honey on it. There you go. It's not as aesthetic, but that's okay. Ooh, okay. Okay. I'm here for it now that it's warm and has honey. This is just coffee with honey in it. I'm gonna be so real with you. This is just coffee, milk, and honey. So if you wonder what this tastes like, that's it. With the exception of, it's much weaker coffee. It's like if you took, you know the way that like coffee smells rather than it tastes? This, yeah, it's kind of more like a tiramisu sort of dealio. Alright, take it away, our listener. What do you think?
Sonic bubble tea is far too sweet. The Shahrazani tea, too. The Telethenian tea is good. And of course, I am a fan of mushroom coffee. I suppose with that, we're now entering what you would call the year 2025. It's funny, this year my handler on my guri says that she wants to metamorphosize into the kind of adult she wanted to be as a child. I hope that she can accomplish that. She says that she really wants to put a lot more time into writing, especially since her job security is not looking so good. So maybe this year my story can finally come to an end. Oh, but that wouldn't mean that I'm leaving the channel or you guys behind. Far from it. If anything, that just means that you'll see more of me. So here's to an excellent 2025. Boop. Tink.
So leave your goal for this year in the comments and let's make it a great one, folks.